The way we think is not consciously decided at every moment. Such conscious choices are few and far between. Invariably, we involuntarily respond to situations without analyzing as a result of our habits. If your conditioning is to be pessimistic, and you hear from Swamiji it's better to be optimistic and positive, you say, all right, now let me be optimistic and positive. It will be a struggle. If you wish to be optimistic and positive, you will have to change the habit and conditioning so that optimism becomes a spontaneous response that comes from inside. This implementation will require practice. And how will we practice it? This requires sharpening the saw. There was one woodcutter. He used to cut wood daily, slogging it out in the hot sun, sweating. The same company employed another woodcutter as well. The second woodcutter used to cut more than the first. As a result of that, after 1 year, the company increased his salary. The first woodcutter complained, I have been working so long in this organization and you have increased his salary more than mine. They said, look, we are production oriented. He is cutting double the trees that you are cutting. You also increase your performance, we'll increase your salary more than his. So he tried harder and harder, but he was not able to increase his production. So he went to them and said, how does he cut so many trees? They said, why don't you ask him? He went and asked the second lumberjack, how do you do it? That lumberjack said, every time I cut a tree, I take a 5-minute break in which I sharpen my saw. Do you sharpen your saw? First one said, no, I just keep hitting and hitting and hitting. Said, that is the mistake. You need to sharpen your saw. Similarly, you are working in the world, you are running from morning till night, from crisis management to problem to difficulty to resolution of conflict at home and the office, amongst the relatives, with the people in India over the phone and via Skype. But all these conflict resolutions, etc., that you keep doing requires your own elevation of consciousness. The more sublime consciousness you bring to bear on your task, your work, your issues, the more efficient you will be. So do you take time to sharpen your saw? Do you take time to improve your mind through sadhana? No, Swamiji, we are so busy we don't have time. That is the problem. It is like that lumberjack. Our scriptures tell us that, look, you do need to do sadhana on a daily basis. In modern day occupations and professions, people are doing sedentary work through the day. You have to sit in your office all day long. So people realize, if I continue this lifestyle, I will fall sick. I need to take out half an hour to 1 hour on a daily basis for exercise to maintain my health. The biggest cause for ill health is lack of exercise. And the biggest solution is the exercise. Whether you do the yoga asanas or walk or run or aerobics or gym, anything will help. But to maintain your physical health, you do need exercise. Now, you don't exercise 24 hours a day. You exercise for a little portion that helps you through the day. What about the exercise for the mind? The mind is subject to wear and tear because you're handling the world. That is why the attachment, the hatred, the hankering, the aversion, the distraction, all this is going to happen when you live in the world. Now, for some time, you need to enhance the quality of your mind and thoughts. Otherwise, then you will say, why are bad thoughts coming to me always? Because you are not endeavoring to purify the mind. So simple. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vivikta Sevi Laghvashi, do sadhana in isolation. Even the Bible says, when thou prayest, enter thy closet and lock thy door. What is the idea of that? The world should not be able to distract you. That is isolation. Even if 50 people are sitting for sadhana and the world is not distracting, that is isolation. You have heard from me in the past the example of milk and water. If you take milk and pour it in water, it will mix in the water. The milk does not have the strength to maintain its undiluted entity when it is in association with water. Now you do something to the milk. Keep it separate from the water. And in isolation, you transform it into yogurt. Now churn the yogurt and extract butter. This butter is now immiscible. It will sit on the water and float. It will challenge the water, Mr. Water, you can do nothing to me now. As long as I was milk, you would dilute my concentration. People would throw me away in Indian restaurants. Waiter, kaisa doodh laaye ho, isme pani mila hua hai, le jao isko. But now, Pani Bhai Sahab, you can do nothing to me because separate from you, I transformed myself into butter. How did that milk become butter? By staying separate from the water. Like the milk is our mind. Like the water is the world. When you live in the world, the mind becomes diluted by it. And if you wish to make it immiscible, for some time, you keep the world away. This is the principle of sadhana in isolation.